Hi, welcome to valuationpodcast.com, a podcast and video series about all things related to business and valuation. My name is Melissa Gragg, and I'm a business valuation expert in St. Louis, Missouri. During this podcast episode, we will discuss collaboration and strategic planning for baby boomers and financial advisors. I have the privilege to interview former IRS auditor Mike Gregory. He's a mediator in Minneapolis, St. Paul, Minnesota, author of 11 books regarding various valuation and tax topics, as well as the creator of The Collaboration Effect. He is a frequent speaker at estate planning council events and provides mediation services to a variety of business and nonprofit organizations. But gifting is a little different because when you gift shares, it's typically to family members. And I don't think always that small businesses that are family-based or family-held businesses really always understand this process of gifting and what it means. So maybe you can help us out with that portion.
Well, of course, if you give a gift, you can maintain the control. You can set up a family limited partnership, for example, and you're the general partner, and you will always control this. And you could have up to 99% of the stock, for example, be in the folks who are not general partners or limited partners, so they have no impact. It could be that you have multiple shares of stock, classifications of stock with non-voting stock going out to others, so you can still maintain the control. There are lots of different ways that you can talk with an exit planner, an estate planner, for how you could address whatever your needs are with what you want to do. You have to think about your family members. Who would you like to have active potentially in the business or not have active in the business? Are you going to sell to management, that's rarer, but it happens? Are you going to sell to a third party? Are you going to set up an employee stock option plan? So when you're thinking about gifting, I'm just commenting, there are a number of other things to consider in this arena as well. And then you also want to think about, if I give a gift or someday I may have an estate, what are the chances of that thing being audited? What may happen with that? So I pulled some stats out that the IRS has an annual, what they call their data book. And the most recent data book came out June 29th of 2020. So I spent some time yesterday in anticipation of this to go through and look at some stats. And in looking at what was actually audited in 2019, I'll just comment, as an individual, your chances of being audited overall are about 0.45%. So less than 1%, 0.45. And it goes up as income goes up. It's up about 6% for those who are making $1 million or more. So that's on the income side. So switching gears back to estates. Overall, estates last year were audited at 6.9%, so about 7%, a lot higher than individuals. And you look at the categories with estates of less than 5 million, 2% were audited. From 5 million to 10 million, 9.2% were audited. And from over 10 million, 22% were audited. So that gives you some idea. In terms of these audits, approximately 18% were no changes, and about 20% resulted in refunds. And the average additional amount of tax from an audit was about $211,000 from the average audit. And that ranged from a low of $88,000 in the $5 to $10 million range to $355,000 in the over $10 million range. So I'm commenting on that from the perspective, that's what happens potentially in terms of audits. So again, if you have a qualified appraisal by a qualified appraiser and they did good work on what they did, the chances of the audit are going to go down. You need to think about your state and your state potentially being audited. And do I want them to be audited? And you need to know what the odds are going in. So having a competent auditor like you who's going to do good quality work and will withstand what may take place with an audit with the IRS, that's a good plan to put in place so that as part of the exit planning, you will have a valuation done for date of death someday. If you're going to hold your business on forever until you die, by having that done, have that planned in advance, you know who the valuer is, you're going to have a competent valuation done. It's very important to have a qualified appraisal by a qualified appraiser with someone like yourself.
Well, and I think that one interesting thing for business owners, financial planners, things like that, about the process. And so when a business owner is trying to think of what am I going to do in the future? Well, I know I'm going to sell. Maybe it's 8 years, 10 years down the road, and I have family in the business. And I'll just take care of them whenever I sell. I'll give them money then. This is a little bit different. So this is actually working with an estate planning attorney, drawing up paperwork if you have to build a trust or if you have to determine that you have voting or non-voting shares. Maybe you didn't have that before. What is the valuation to move that into the trust? And then what portion are you going to gift? Are you going to gift voting or non-voting shares? And then once you determine that, it is a process of maybe not gifting everything, still maintaining control, like you said, and then saying, okay, now when we go to sell in 8 to 10 years, I don't have to give my family members anything. They already have a 10% ownership or a 15% ownership, or maybe you have 4 kids, and you can give them a piece of it so that at the eventual sale, you will actually all be able to, enjoy that fruits of the labor, if you will. Whereas if you just keep it to yourself, what if something does accidentally happen? Now you have an estate evaluation that's done at the estate level, which you were talking about when the person is basically passed away, and you're going to be paying an inordinate amount of taxes. And that's really what we're trying to help business owners understand. And I think financial planners are also starting to understand that they're not going to lose those clients. Even if you sell, you're still going to have money to invest, and they're still going to invest with a financial planner. So I think that business owners just don't understand, why would I give it to somebody?